On June 14, 1940, German forces took over the City of Light itself, Paris, France. The heart of France everyone once adored was now being run by German Nazis and a puppet government known as Vichy France. Parisians, the citizens of Paris, were told that the French government was in cooperation with the Nazis. In truth, their government was being threatened into obeying every German command. This was no secret, however. The Parisians knew what was going on. They feared for their lives daily as the Nazis occupying their city killed innocent citizens, forced curfews upon them, and banned everything there was to love about France, like the jazz music they so often listened to, for example. For over 4 years, Paris suffered under the control of Germany. To the joy of all the trapped citizens, the French 2nd Armored Division and the U.S. 4th Infantry Division finally arrived to liberate Paris after years of waiting for a hero. Overall, the process of this liberation lasted from August 19, 1944 to August 25, 1944. German resistance was not very strong, so while it may not have been the toughest battle to win, it was a very delightful victory for the city and its people. General Jacques-Philippe Leclerc played a very large role in the liberation of Paris. Partly responsible for allowing the German forces to control the Parisian government in the first place, Leclerc wanted to reclaim his honor. In order to do this, he formed an army called the 2nd Armored Division. This army was very diverse in soldiers, consisting of Jews, Quakers, French Africans, Communists, Socialists, and French Syrians, just to name a few. As different as these soldiers were, they were all united through their mutual hatred for Nazi Germany, through their love of France, and through Leclerc's spirit. Leclerc was a proud man who seldom obeyed the orders he was given. While Leclerc led the 2nd Armored Division, General George S. Patton led the 3rd U.S. Army and U.S. 4th Infantry Division. These armies, along with others, made up the Allied forces. The effort to liberate France did not only occur in these Allied armies. Resistance fighters living in Paris also added to the damage done to the German forces by attacking from within the city and destroying German property. These rebellious Parisians would aid the Allied armies later in the battle for their own freedom. Who was pulling the strings of this puppet government? Adolf Hitler had given orders to the German Nazis to defend Paris to the last man. The city was not to fall into Allied hands except as, in his words, a field of ruins. Hitler orders that General Dietrich von Schultz, should the German forces have no choice but to surrender Paris, blow up Paris's landmarks and burn the city to the ground before its liberation. Schultz, though, is fascinated with Paris's sights and culture and does not want to become infamous for being the man who destroyed the City of Light. Instead of destroying Paris, Schultz places explosives as he is told to do, but never detonates them. He has defied Hitler's orders, which will make Hitler furious when he discovers what has happened. Despite this, Schultz is very casual and nonchalant about the situation. Since both the U.S. and France are working as a team to liberate Paris, they must discuss how they plan to do so and come to an agreement in strategies. General Dwight D. Eisenhower of the U.S. and de Gaulle meet to decide on the timing of the liberation. Allied planners suggest to Eisenhower that he should wait to liberate Paris on a later date. The reason for this being that the U.S. does not want to direct valuable resources away from more important operations. De Gaulle, however, does not agree with this plan, as he believes France can be reclaimed easily. Politely, he threatens to send Leclerc and the 2nd Armored Division to liberate Paris alone, whether the U.S. joined in or not. This convinces Eisenhower to liberate Paris immediately. The trip made to Paris was very difficult, largely due to Leclerc's refusal to follow orders. At one point, Leclerc is given the order to lead his army around a forest. Leclerc had a distaste for Americans, so he defied these orders given to him by an American general, Patton, thinking they were bound to be incorrect. Leclerc leads his army straight through the forest, taking 6 hours in total to get through it. When he asks Patton what to do next, Patton is unimpressed by Leclerc's actions and tells Leclerc to just stay where he is. Leclerc is angered by this, then learns that the U.S. is planning to make it to Paris before French troops. In a final effort to make a name for himself, Leclerc pushes his exhausted army to the heart of Paris, Hôtel de Ville, arriving there first. Another issue that the Allied forces faced on the journey there was the fear that, if they arrived too late, Schultz would destroy Paris and its landmarks. Due to Schultz's decision not to follow through with these orders, the Allies would find Paris in one piece. The 2nd Armored Division attacks from the north and the U.S. 4th Infantry Division from the south. At the same time that Allied troops were entering Paris, resistance fighters around the city were suddenly going on strike and attacking the German army that was occupying the area. This acts as a distraction that Allies can use against Germany. The 2nd Division takes heavy damages, but eventually pushes through and crosses the Seine River on August 24th. Parisian citizens greet them enthusiastically, thanking them for liberating their city. The troops kept going, and German resistance melted away during the night. Almost 20,000 German soldiers had fled or surrendered. There was no struggle against the Allies anymore. Paris was liberated. This battle has a more peaceful ending than most. Schultes is arrested and goes willingly. He signs the right to govern France over to de Gaulle, who then runs France for many years. In celebration, de Gaulle leads a liberation march down the streets of Champs-Élysées. Not long after, the march is interrupted by the gunfire of snipers. The identity of these snipers has never been determined. This experience surprisingly convinced Leclerc to give Americans a second chance, as he soon learned to tolerate them. While the liberation of Paris was not a major battle of World War II, it captured the spirit of the people fighting. The troops were excited to free Vichy France from its strings, the citizens eagerly awaited their rescue, holding on to all hope they had, and the generals in charge had their own battle for honor.